And Pix 11 is your local election headquarters, everybody. And last night we held the first televised debate in the race for New York's 12th Congressional District. From the war in Gaza to AI, the top four candidates in the race to replace Congressman Nadler took to the Pix 11 debate stage to make their case.
It's good that we talked about a lot of issues that we need to do something about, like healthcare, energy, and all that. But we can't get there until Donald Trump is gone, and that's the reason why I'm running.
The Democratic Party needs to do what it has always done, which is challenge the status quo, elect a new generation of leaders with new vision, freshness, and new ideas.
New York 12 deserves more than establishment, entitlement, or even entertainment. It deserves effectiveness. I've been ranked the most effective new legislator from New York City because I've delivered for you. Let's send the most effective legislator to Congress.
I'm not a tech bro, and I'm not a TikTok star. I'm someone who has spent my career using government to make change. That's what we need right now.
Okay, there was a lot of ground to cover. A little over 2 weeks left before primary day. This morning, we're talking to Democratic strategist Nick Smith to find out who came out ahead in last night's debate. So, Nick, good to see you.
Good morning.
Let's talk about this. This is a very large district that covers a lot of ground in Manhattan and, of course, parts of Roosevelt Island. And kind of looking at it all, we had our poll last night and our post show said who came out on top. It looked like many people were saying Michael Lasher and Alex Borez. What were your thoughts about who may have won this debate?
I would agree. And it appears that based on who got the most attacks, that Alex Borez is probably the either front runner or, top two with Michael Lasher, who was, of course, endorsed by Congressman Nadler. The thing that surprised me the most is the issues. I've watched a lot of congressional races, and this race is focusing so much on AI as a big overarching issue, and I get it. I worked in the district. I worked for Linda Rosenthal for a little while years ago, so I get the pulse of the district. Of course, it was expanded to the east side. And so that is surprising to me. So there wasn't much talk from them about housing issues, et cetera. These are issues that voters, I guess, really care about. AI is a central part of this election, so very surprising. But I do think Borez is probably right now the front runner.
I mean, he was. It's interesting because in our poll, Michael Lasher is actually the front. He's number one. Alex Borez number two. Jack Schlossberg, then George Conway. And Jack Schlossberg really was, I think, in my take and my viewpoint, was acting like somebody who is in third place. He was throwing the most attacks at Michael Lasher and Alex Borez. Was anybody able to maybe move the needle? I
don't think so, and I am surprised that Schlossberg, to me, he didn't really meet the moment. He lobbed many attacks, particularly against a single member, Borez. But I think what he had to do was come into this debate and persuade voters in that district, which is a little wealthier, care about the issues, that he's the guy. So you can't just have the Kennedy mystique. You have to have a reason for voters to switch from Borez, Lasher to you. So I think he's probably in third right now. I'm not sure he changed that last evening.
Yeah, and what do you think about some of the issues? Let's talk about the war in Gaza for a moment right now and how they would handle that issue. A lot of them would not answer the question about genocide. None of them answered the question about genocide, said it's about semantics and so on and so forth. But they did differ on whether or not to fund more weapons, sending them to Israel from the U.S. What did you think of that?
So that was an area of strength for Schlossberg, actually. He was pretty clear on.
Because they differed.
They differed, exactly. And so I think that was his attempt to differentiate. But the issue is this is a highly polarizing topic, as we all know. And so I think the ways in which Borez and Lasher kind of try to thread a needle and say, it doesn't matter what word you use, genocide or not, let's focus on what's happening on the ground. That's a way of trying to step away from the controversy. But I'm not sure it's going to work because if you look at the mayor's recent election, the Gaza issue was front and center, and I think it will be in this race as well.
What do you think when you look at this overall, right? Because there isn't, I guess, a lot of daylight in between their positions. When you're voting in a Democratic primary, they're all in Congress, they're all pretty much going to vote along the party line of what the Democrats are pushing for in that moment. So what differentiates them from watching last night?
I really think it's what kept coming up, which is AI. The district, they care about these tech issues, and there's issues of electricity rates, there's issues of data centers sucking up a lot of electricity, and so that really matters. I think whoever has the best record there will probably skate ahead. But again, you have two candidates at the top, Borez and Lasher, who are pretty close. So it's kind of hard to say what will turn it, but I think it also comes down to ground game as well. And, so the question is which candidate molds together a coalition of the West Side, East Side, and as you mentioned, Roosevelt Island. Who does
Yeah.
it the best? And I'm not quite sure who will, but I think top two will be Borres and Lasher.
I mean, Lasher brought up had a strong closing statement with who was endorsing him, why he's the best man for the job. Who do you think presented, I guess, on last night, you know, their delivery on the issues and so forth? Who was the best in terms of that?
I'm going to give the slight nod to Lasher, mainly because, one, Congressman Nadler has endorsed him. He worked for him and the governor and the AG. But also, Borres was much more on the defense, the entire debate. So in terms of presentation, I would give the slight edge to Lasher.
Yeah.
But again, I think those two are going to be the final ones. It'll be a nail biter, I think, in the end.
Why did nobody answer the Chuck Schumer question of whether or not he should run again?
I wouldn't have answered the question if I'm running for Congress. I mean, he's the leader on the Senate side. He's a Democratic leader, and although some folks, particularly on the progressive left, don't really like how he's postured, he's the leader, and it's very difficult to go up against the current incumbent leader.
There you go. Nick Smith, a lot to talk about. We've got 2 more debates coming up, New York 7, New York 10, so stay tuned for that. Great to have you here this morning.
Thank you.